All right, all right. Hello, Jay. Big fan here. I'm shocked to hear such a thing as a big fan exists. Hey folks, I see there's a few people around now. Hello, hello, Antilverse. For those of you that are here, I'm going to be building this 34 key keyboard. It's a cute little thing. It's kind of intended as a low profile ergonomic travel board, so it'll be pretty flat. It'll fit nicely into a backpack or the likes. And I have nearly everything ready to go, and just want to touch up a few switches before I get going. I think I counted that I need 4 more than I had prepared in advance. So I'm going to prepare those 4 switches and then get going. Actually, I see I have 6 switches, which I haven't touched yet. I might do the 6 of them, just in case. Typically, there's not anything that can really go wrong with the switch, which is good, because if something can go wrong, I'll find a way. But since there isn't much that can go wrong, I probably don't need the spares ready. But as I said, since I will normally find a way for something to go wrong, I will probably just do those spares, should I have any need for them. Oops. Okay, nearly cracked them open. Believe it or not, taking these things apart is nearly the hardest part of modifying them. Well, when the modifications one is making are as simple as what I'm doing. For those in the chat, I should have thought of this sooner, but if anyone could provide feedback on music volume, my volume, whatever, let me know that it's all loud and clear or in balance. I'd be very grateful. Particularly before going too much further if there's any issues. Okay, so I have my switches opened up. These are Choc switches, which are low profile. They're pretty short. If everything was a little bit louder. Okay. Let's see. Now what I might be able to do is, if I bring my mic closer, I think I'm going to get louder. And if I mess with this slider, music could get louder maybe. Thank you for the feedback. Let me know if I succeeded in doing what you requested. Please and thank you. Let's see, actually, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Okay, so this is a low profile mechanical keyboard, and one of the things that will make it low profile are the switches. So most mechanical keyboards use this type of switch. It's called an MX style switch, which comes in yay big. Now that may not mean much on its own, but this is the size of switch I'll be using today. It's called a Choc switch, and it's much shorter. Which makes it nice for the travel board. I suppose a similar comparison. This here board is an MX style board using Cherry keycaps, maybe OEM keycaps, and this here is a Choc low profile board. Everything's just much slimmer, much nicer if you're packing things up and bringing them around with you. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to lubricate these switches a little bit. The main thing I'm trying to do is get rid of some of the pinging sounds that I would typically get off these things. I don't have very sophisticated ears, so I don't hear some of the finer details that other hobbyists would be attuned to. Thank you both. I'm glad to hear that the audio is a little bit better, if not quite perfect. As I was saying earlier, there's not much to modifying these switches given what I'm trying to do to them. Applying lubricant will get me pretty much the desired effect. And there isn't much surface area to apply lubricant to, so not much is needed. Hello, Scruffles. Nice to have you here. All of these springs of the switches, which are what make them go up and down, had balled up into one big old bunch. And I was about to try put them in a bag and shake them about, which would have achieved sweet nothing at all. Actually, so here I'm just trying to put the switches in, the switch springs in with some lubricant and kind of shake it about. Because applying it directly, even if I don't have many springs to apply it to, is just a bit tedious. Okay. So this ought to be a fairly fast build. Once these switches are put back together, plug them in, solder them up, and put the keycaps on. Much less than the previous CAS build that I did. This circuit board that everything's going to get plugged into. Oops. The technical term, I believe, is PCBA. Basically, the components on the circuit board that can be pre-installed and attached and soldered and everything are. So last time, anyone that was here previously would remember the vast majority of my time was attaching tiny diodes, and I spent a good deal of time messing about with a nice nano microcontroller. This time, I'm fortunate to not need to do any of that. So it's just the switches, which are big non-moving targets that go in pretty straightforward. Okay. My fingers are the worst. There's a reason I did not attempt to do 34 switches on stream, and that's because I did not want to embarrass myself by dropping things for however long that was going to take. The reason I'm doing any on stream is that I tried to count to 34 and I made a crucial error, and I think I stopped at 28. I was going in batches of 4. And I guess I dropped 2 batches, or rather picked up 2 batches. I thought I had done 2 more batches than I actually had. Come on. Is that a USB microscope? A USB, did I say that correctly? Yes, microscope. It is. It is now the jankiest and most, how can I put this? Fritzy, unreliable piece of equipment that I own. Basically, for some of the SMD diode stuff I did last time, it would have just been handy to not bend over and look at it, so I decided USB microscope could be handy. The issue with this one is that it's dirt cheap, so it's kind of hot garbage. Let's see if this works. So this is the view out of it. It does have a little inbuilt light thingamajig. Actually, you can't see that. Over here on the side, we have a little light for, I guess, if I'm looking at very small things. But here we are. We can look at the textures on these keycaps in, I was going to say high definition. High definition is really not the word. In low definition, but nice big picture. So I have that on standby. I'll probably try use it to just to say that I did type of thing. But as to the utility I expect to get from it, I kind of don't expect it to be useful today. Oh, sorry. Bye-bye scope. I don't expect it to be particularly useful today because the targets I'm working with are bigger. And they don't move and they don't try to roll away and stuff. Nice one, does it? It helps when it actually works. Who would have known? Who knew that it was useful to have working tools and maybe even worthwhile to invest the money to get tools that work, as opposed to cheaping out and purposefully choosing the lowest cost option on Amazon. But hey, I did that to myself. It is so good that, like, if I do end up finding it particularly useful and I find it particularly frustrating to work with, I could see myself spring for like a bit of an upgrade. Hello, Super Sucker. Welcome. I could see myself opting for an upgrade if I find it useful because I really like the idea. And if I could get one that wasn't steaming rubbish, that would probably be worth whatever for the record, this one was £15. Which isn't, I don't know, that doesn't break the bank. So I could invest I could invest double the money, spend £30 and maybe get something better. Maybe if I spent as much as £50, there'd be one with some nicer features. One of the issues I have with this little microscope one of the issues I have with this as a microscope is that it can't focus. It has a fixed focal range. So if you wish to focus, you're moving it. You're kind of focusing with where it is placed. Okay, so we have hopefully like 34 plus 2 switches here, kind of on standby to go into the circuit board. The circuit board has these little diodes on it that are going to sit up nicely inside of this little pocket in the switch that's made for LEDs, for kind of those flashing lights and stuff. Very gamery, except it just helps kind of keep everything neat and tidy that they fit in. It keeps everything compact, which I think is kind of genius. I haven't seen that done before. A lot of the time I see diodes on the opposite side. So I'm going to just pop all these in. So this board, it is a low profile board. It's kind of a travel board in mind, that kind of thing. But it's also ergonomic. It's got what's called a column stagger. So this is one row, even though those switches are not all on the same x-axis. They're all staggered in the y-axis. But my fingers would sit on it like so. The idea being that it kind of goes with the way fingers bend. Which is really nice. I think I'll find that pretty comfy. This board is called Zaphod, and it's based off of another keyboard called Ferris. Ferris was a fully split board, and Zaphod's twist on Ferris is that it is two Ferris-like halves joined together. It's also wireless. This cutout in the middle of the circuit board is for battery. I've yet to receive my battery from the vendor. It's been sent, but installing the battery is as easy as plugging it into here. So that will not be much of a muchness. That will be fairly handy. Okay. And with this switch, we will have half of them done. So I'm just going to do a quick check that I haven't missed any of the pins. So some of these coppery pins, not the blue ones, could get bent and would just be unfortunate to need to go back to them later when I'm in the zone with soldering. So I just wanted to give a quick check that they worked. One nicety, I suppose, is that the tolerances on this board are very tight, so there kind of isn't room to miss. And also with the switches being so low, like just not very tall, like if the leg missed, it would kind of offset how low to the board the switch it was. And I think it would be pretty obvious, pretty easy to tell if it wasn't sitting flush. It wouldn't take much of a disturbance over a fairly short square to be a bit noticeable. But still, why not check? One message deleted by a moderator. Okay, I think Nightbot is the moderator in that case, so I'm not sure what happened there, Z. While you're here, nice to have you. Oh, you typed in all caps, okay. So did Super Soaker, so I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, Nightbots, so last time that I streamed, someone tried to use the bang build command, and I decided I'd look into what it would take to actually have a bot that could do that. So I looked into Nightbot, and I tweaked exactly nothing. I tweaked exactly nothing, so maybe I will go in and make it so that one can type in all caps without their message getting deleted by the bot. Jazz, happy St. Patrick's Day to you too, thank you very much. As you can see by the fact that I'm at home building a keyboard, I'm not one for the traditional St. Patrick's Day festivities. Earlier on today, someone did get onto me that I wasn't wearing green, so I have donned a green shirt. But that's about all that I'll do. Math Vortex. 25 grams indeed. Not celebrating the Welsh person, no. Our Welsh Patrick. St. Paddy's Day is an abomination. It's Paddy's Day, no saint, or it's St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, 25 grams 25 gram G-Chocs, as they're called, are what got me to become the degenerate I am and like low weight switches. I was typing on some 30 gram MX style switches earlier on today, and I, like months after them being my norm, I still don't always manage to actuate the switches because I'm used to not having to press far, and I'm not used to having to press heavily. These are a recolor of these same switches. Very same materials, they sound identical, but in kind of a cute pinky thing. And for some reason, I only bought 20 of them. I think I made a mistake. I don't know why I would have bought 20, so I think I made a mistake and had intended to buy 30, which would actually cover some of the keyboards I have. So I'll need to top those up before I can use them. I couldn't have, since there is no real side to this, I would not like seeing two different colors. Yeah, not bottoming out. I think I am probably a bit unique in that. Like, there are other people who use even lighter switches, and I think they, if they went to a heavier switch, would probably be fine. Like, I know some people that use 12 gram switches, or people that use maybe 15 grams, but yeah, no, I do fail sometimes to even reach the actuation point, which is a bit unfortunate. It's where most of my typos come from, I feel like. Because my board has 3 dimensions, it's pretty easy to home yourself and find your way around, so the typos I feel mostly come from either accidentally brushing a key or just failing to bottom out. Okay, so we have 34 switches in this here circuit board, and that leaves me with 68 pins. I mean, even a simple doubling multiplication, apparently I'm not comfortable with making confident statements on stream, but we should fly through this, is kind of what I'm getting at. Actually, while I think of it, have I tried marshmallows? Higher than normal activation point. Oh, that's interesting. I have not tried that map. That's definitely worth a go. Bang keyboard, that didn't work. So I will work on getting that for a future stream. See. Okay, I'm going to give this microscope a go. Which is entirely over the top for looking at something as big as a keyboard PCB. But if I can sit upright, sure, may as well. So let's check it. Okay, hit those pins. Next pins over are these ones. Yeah, you can judge my soldering, certainly not in HD, but you can judge it in big picture. Okay, I tried to look away and actually use the microscope as effectively a viewfinder. Not quite prepared, I guess. Missing my target a little bit. Yeah, it is a bit hard to use, I'm finding, but I'm trying it on these nice big targets in hopes that it could be nice to use on things where I might actually notice a difference. So things like a tiny SMD diode. I say tiny, too small for me to see comfortably. Which doesn't need to be that small. Doesn't need to be that small for me to not see it comfortably, but if I could not need to bend over and have my face against the soldering iron to see my target, that would be nice. The lag on the thing isn't that bad. The main issue, as I'm probably showing you there, is that it's whatever the frame rate is, it's blurry. Yeah, thank you. Those two have turned out pretty nicely. I think I'm genuinely doing nicer soldering joints than normal, by virtue of not actually seeing what I'm doing to some extent. I know that, Z, that you like to watch a car crash and then come into the rescue, but I'm glad to not be providing that this evening. I appreciate the praise. Okay. So I think the main issue I'm having with these is I tend to probably pull away a bit too soon, or rather miss the target. Either or. But we're doing okay. As I was saying to some of the people who were here early, this is a cheap £15 Amazon UK microscope and is not feature rich. So at some point, given that I'm actually liking soldering with this, I might kind of go for an upgrade. The main issue I have with this one, which you're probably seeing, is that it can't focus. It has a fixed focal point, focal length, field of focus, field of depth, whatever, and I need to move it or my subject to get things to focus correctly. So that's a bit frustrating, but not the worst. What this microscope is revealing to me actually is that some of these legs hardly need to be soldered in terms of actually making a physical connection. Like they're okay. The gap is pretty small on a lot of them, which is nice. But it is a thing I have heard of. Some people have asked if they have asked the designer if they could push what's the word I'm looking for? Mil-max sockets to make the board hot swap so they could change out their switches, but there isn't enough tolerances. Linus, thank you. Welcome into the chat. Welcome to the stream. Forgive me, my etiquette's poor. Stream number 2. Yeah, it's an unusual build. Not one's everyday build, but my bread and butter when it comes to keyboards is small and ergonomic, which this does nicely. Let's see, come on now. This does probably remind me that I should invest in an extractor fan. Again, I'm okay, particularly now I'm a bit more removed from it, but it's not doing any favors for the little microscope camera. Not talking about purely a viewer experience here, but what I can actually see. Okay, these joints not so bad. It's true. I'm not particularly concerned about the health consequences of occasionally soldering. Oh, I soldered the wrong pin. Let's come down to this switch over here. Find my target. Yeah, no, I'm not soldering at a frequency or volume. Volume might be the correct term. Where I need fret about the effect of the fumes. Am I at the right one now? Yeah. What is a Duck 2.5, Linus? Is that a full-size board or similar? I am very much within my niche. I don't pop my head out a ton to know what regular keyboards are like. I am interested, but I find it hard enough to keep up with the ergonomic keyboard space. It is a world to its own, and there's a lot of people just making their own boards in one-offs. This is a rare group buy from kind of the ergonomic keyboard space, and has things that I'm unfamiliar with, like PCBA and delivery, as opposed to going to someone's GitHub and trying to buy a board from a PCB manufacturer directly, which I did only during the week. Okay, this, whoops. Instead of moving the board, we're gonna move microscope. Gently finding the target. Okay. The Duck Orion 2.5, a 10 kilos board with 11 degree typing angle. Jeez. 11 degrees sounds like something that would break your wrists. Very nice. Oh no there, Matt Vortex. Thank you for... I will co-sign that oh no, if I may. Okay. We're going to take a quick break from microscope view to quickly just look over these joints. Okay, I don't think I missed any pins. So we're flying along. We are halfway through the soldering. Maximum angle that Matt is comfortable with is 7 degrees. See, I go... the only angles I think about are tenting angles. I have a hard time even thinking about what it would mean to type at a 7-degree typing angle. I use my boards flat in this dimension and tilted that way to help with pronation, where possible. Obviously, this will not be tentable. Flat unibody PCB that it is. Maker Jake, hello. Welcome to the stream. Recognize you from the low profile keyboard server. Oops. Oof, okay, that's not the prettiest joint we have done this evening. Getting maybe a tad too zealous with the application. Thank you, Zizor. The confidence is reassuring, I suppose. We have similar expectations for what my own soldering might look like, particularly up close. Okay, I'm trying to move the microscope more than the keyboard. But the kind of a weird thing with the lighting when I'm moving this around. Yeah, that's not so bad. Sit. Thanks, C. Have you tried oops. Have you tried using a microscope before for your soldering? Replay that one, replay this one. I feel like they're a little too much. Okay, I'm going back to moving the keyboard. Actually, I'm gonna move. Oh, the lighting's better over here. I like that. Sorry, again, not thinking about this maybe as I should be from a content perspective, but actually in terms of what I can actually watch and try use this as a tool for myself. A selfish interest, if you will. Okay, that was not so bad. Oh, you tried to watch via your phone. That does sound like it would be tricky. So I'm kind of soldering by feel here. Like I'm using the scope for getting in the neighborhood. normally, not in the neighborhood here. Whoops. And it can offer me some idea of how much solder I've applied. I guess mostly that's actually a fairly accurate idea because it's not been an atrocity. I've not butchered every single one of these, but it is an imperfect idea, I suppose. It's a little bit hard to see, say, through a tip of the soldering iron, or through all of that flux. Jeez. Oops. Kill confirmed. Okay. So we've got 2 columns down out of the 5 on this half. So we're making good speed. Sorry, again, my Twitch etiquette is poor. Thank you to Linus and Maker Jake for the follow. If either of you are still here, Jesus. Lads tonight. Little and large there, or rather large and gigantic. I probably have any number of solder joints like that I haven't seen in such detail, but seeing them in detail does hurt a bit more. It offends my my sensibilities. Thank you very much, Linus. I'm very much aiming for a bit chill and quiet. Oh, Z, Zora. Z, you say the kindest things about my soldering. Well soldered, I take as high praise. Let's see now. Okay. So this rounds out column number 3 on the left, which leaves us with 12 more switches of this build. We are moving along at pace. Nope, okay, we're too far down. Here we are. Okay. So with this keyboard I have, this is the bit we're looking at. My daily driver of a keyboard has 46 switches on it, which is basically 36 switches plus a number row. So as a result, I'm fairly comfortable on a 36 switch keyboard, because accounting for just a number row is fairly easy as accommodations go once you're kind of at small things. But this keyboard has 2 fewer switches than I'm personally comfortable with. So I haven't figured out all of the quirks that this key map will have. I don't know exactly what all the switches will do, because when you don't have as many switches as a normal keyboard, you need to get a bit creative about pushing them in combinations or different chords. will produce the missing keys. This is to say, this keyboard might be slightly unusable for me for a brief time. I don't think we will be figuring out the full key map on the stream. I'll probably get it going to a typing test and kind of go from there. Watching me mess around in a text editor would not be the most exciting viewing experience. Wait a minute. Where did the switch go? Come on. Here we are. Reminding me that I need to kick the cats out and solder sometime. Instantiate this, you most certainly should try solder sometime. It's a fun hobby project type video. Although, if the cats don't like being kicked out, I suppose that's a bit of a barrier to entry. So shall we call it? Okay, come on, tidy this one up. 2 more. And then we're just about done. So particularly if anyone was here last time and watching as opposed to just kind of hanging around. Hanging around, perfectly acceptable by the way. Oops. Okay, this one I did entirely by feel apparently. Hanging around, perfectly acceptable, but if you are watching, I would love to hear if you find the microscope useful for actually watching the soldering, as opposed to watching the back of my head as I bend over and block view so that I can see what I'm doing. Is that a TS80P? No, this soldering iron is very like a TS80 in that it's USB-C and everything, but it's the Pincel. Does it say Pincel on this anywhere? I don't think so. It's the Pincel soldering iron, so it is a whole $25, I think, including shipping. $25 and takes TS100 standard sized soldering iron tips, which plug out really nicely if your soldering iron isn't currently above 300 degrees. I'm not about to try demonstrate that at the moment. But yeah, plugs in by USB-C and works a dream. Easy to control, has a little OLED screen so that you can see what the temperature you're operating at is. It's really quite nice. Okay, I've bumped into this microscope a few too many times. Where I think that's, yeah. This should be, barring any things that I forgot, this should be the final set of pins we have. Ah yes, Antivirus, I forgot that you had the TS80. The Pincel, like someone who was afraid to spend money on equipment, as evidenced again by this cheap microscope. The Pincel appealed to me, but it's nice to hear that you find it good value given that you actually have both. This one, I just want this little joint to be a bit shinier. Okay, that gotta do it. Oh, Pincel are opening an EU shop. That's interesting. I'm also EU, in case that isn't clear to anyone in Ireland here. But yeah, as Antiverse pointed out, no need to wait for an EU shop if you don't want to wait. Because I got mine shipped from, I think, China, and it worked just fine. Unless they've since changed their mind about international shipping. Buying from their current store should work a treat. Okay, it could be famous last words, but I think those are all soldered correctly. Gonna dim the light on that for a minute to test. So this circuit board has I can't remember the proper name. It has a wireless microcontroller, basically. KT2, thank you for the follow. Apologies, that's 10 minutes late, maybe you're gone. This microcontroller is wireless, so the firmware that the keyboard runs is ZMK. That may not mean anything to the majority of you, but it's different from QMK, which is the firmware of choice for a great many keyboard users. Which is to say, it doesn't work with things such as let's see, how can I do this? It doesn't work with VIA, which is a nice visual configurator tool, but it does work for the key tester. And the reason I'm plugging in a wireless keyboard is because I have yet to receive I've yet to receive the battery for this one. Okay. So far, all the keys are working as expected. Okay, so this is a good example of using few keys to use all the keys. I just showed that like J works, but if I hold J, I get right shift. If I hold K, right control. If I hold, which are you, your L, I get left alt. I get left win if I hold the semicolon key. This is set up by a Windows user, so I'm going to go in and tweak that at some point. I would like K, a nice finger, kind of bigger finger, to be the Windows key, or on Mac the command key, since I use that more often. Another example. This key, this pair of keys, let's see, this one is enter, that one is space, and if I hit both, I get tab. So this is just some of the quirks of small keyboards, is these affordances that we must tolerate. Okay, so this one's escape, that one is backspace, and delete. Okay, we have all of the keys that I would expect. Let's see, are these the numbers? Aha, okay. So if I hold this key, which one moment is enter, if I hold it down, it turns the left hand into kind of a number pad, which works pretty nice. I think if I hold down the pair of keys here, it's basically a number pad of function keys. Oops. F11, it says hasn't worked, but that's because F11 actually does something on the Mac, and VIA which I'm using as a key tester here, doesn't get to pick that up. Oh, these are my arrows. Okay. Essentially, I've successfully verified that the soldering joints are all correct, which means I can put away this 300-degree piece of metal beside me. Okay, to be fair, it did put itself to sleep and cool down. But if I can put it away, I will unplug it. I see there is a lively discussion of import taxes, for which Z definitely seems to be the person. It seems well versed in such matters. And yes, Instantiate is very happy with working keys. I have just knocked something off my desk. It's a miracle I didn't do that any sooner. Okay. At this juncture, now that I know that the back is functional, we do two things. I will attach this to its case. I make that sound like there's a process to it. That's just a few screws. But before that, I'm just going to try wipe away some of the flux left on the back of the circuit board. From the soldering process. Hopefully the sound of a toothbrush on a circuit board isn't a terrible sound. I can't quite tell. Not being a viewer of my own stream. But yeah, I like this keyboard. I want the nasty yellowy gunk left over from the flux to be gone away. So I'm using some isopropyl alcohol, or IPA as the cool kids call it, if they are clear that they're not talking about an Indian pale ale? Question mark? I don't drink. I'm ill qualified for knowing what an IPA is to a normal person. Okay. So, basically the nasty solder flux residue dissolves in the isopropyl alcohol, which is just kind of a rubbing alcohol you can get over the counter in the pharmacy. And it'll make the nasty stuff go away, which we love to see. So, this keyboard case was designed by the designer of the keyboard. And it uses... oh, why can't I remember the name? Basically, it uses these heat set inserts. I did remember the name. Heat set inserts into the plastic. 3D printed plastic. Not a very strong or sturdy thing. I could snap this in half very handily. Screwing into a not durable thing, not good. So you can insert these metal things with a soldering iron that make you have a nice screw point for connecting your keyboard to the case. Yes, I did just clean up something that I am covering up. I am in some regard very deep down the rabbit hole. I didn't know that rosin could be corrosive. I was coming at it mostly from a don't want unpleasant things hanging around without knowing that there's a such an obvious benefit, I suppose. So thank you, Z, for that lesson. Not just a lesson for instantiate this, but for myself as well. Yes, Antilverse. It is a very true of like I would know. It's also why I went back and tried to make some of the solder joints pretty, is that at the end of the day it would bother me that they weren't pretty, even though I don't have to look at them. Okay, so these heat set inserts take an M3 screw, of which I have a few. And they actually are going in nice and smooth, which would suggest that they went in fairly vertically. I say that so far. Watch now is one of the last ones I try. Probably won't go in so nicely, just to spite me. But they're giving a really good anchor point for the PCB. Basically, that this thing is not going anywhere. If you look at the back, my screws might be a tad too long. Like you can see the back of it out here, but like with the bump-ons, they're not going anywhere near whatever surface would be beneath them. You have a good assortment of MT3 screws. I have more than I think I will ever need. But thank you for the offer, I suppose. Antivirus, I think you could do great things with a 3D printer if you used yours more often and you had it in ship shape. It is, I was going to say it's my favorite tool. My favorite tool, funnily enough, is probably my digital calipers. It makes me surprisingly happy just to be able to accurately measure things. And it's important for the 3D printer. It's important to measure things and know that they're going to fit what I want them to fit. But after the calipers, the 3D printer might be my favorite tool. Like, it just sits there waiting. It doesn't demand anything from me until I go to print and something goes wrong. But in the generic case, it doesn't demand anything from me and it works nicely. And I can go from having an idea drawn up in CAD to having a physical object within a number of hours, which is kind of amazing to me anyway. Uninterested in the CAD part. Fair, I did enjoy CAD quite a good deal in secondary school. For a while I thought I wanted to be an architect or something. Or, failing in that, the sort of engineer that might design things in CAD. And instead, I became the sort of engineer that doesn't. Is the Don't Panic referencing Hitchhiker's Guide? It sure is. I'm surprised that you can see that through this. I guess maybe you're a bit further back, Extinction Club, but that is a Hitchhiker's reference. The creator of the keyboard is a big Hitchhiker's fan. He has a few projects. Apparently Zaphod is even a character in the Hitchhiker's Guide universe, but that went over my head. Okay, so I have here in front of me a bunch of blank keycaps. small keyboards are weird enough that people end up using very strange layouts, and they don't. That people don't end up putting letters on them because people end up using unusual layouts, and it would find that the letters would be inaccurate for what they actually end up using. Did I ever go in on MBK Legends? So these are MBK blanks, which are unlegended, no writing on them keycaps. And as Z just asked, there are a legended set based on this. So the same shape keycaps, the same texture and everything, but with letters for people who are normal and like to have letters on their keycaps. But I didn't get any, and not for any particular reason. I think I just grew used to having blanks, particularly for low profile boards anyway. Like I have my Kaz here, which I never look at while typing, and it looks nice. I like the keycaps, the legends, I think are pretty. They're nice and crisp and stuff. But the come on. I put that key in the wrong spot. No, I made a point of putting on the homing keys first, so that I couldn't put anything in the wrong spot. That's the only mistake I could have made. I didn't go in on the legended ones for MBK because I didn't particularly care for the look. They're not ugly, but since I don't need them from a functionality perspective, aesthetics or appearance is kind of the only thing that I would have gotten out of it, and they didn't quite do it for me. There was a nice looking orangey set. They had some with kind of orange accents or mods, if I remember correctly, but it didn't quite speak to me. That is somewhere that like there are some more options in low profile keycaps now than there were a year ago and a year and a half ago. And more of them are offering legended sets with letters and the likes for regular humans that don't want to try memorize weird layouts and would like to occasionally look at their keyboard and know what the frick was going on with it. Which is perfectly fair, but apparently not for me anymore. Okay, so I have 30 keycaps down. We're going pretty well. And for just a hint of accent color, we're going to use some whites on the thumbs. Can I do a wobble test? I mean, sure, let me try. Yeah, Z, do you have any low profile keycaps? Would you get any? These, like, if you look at these, they're big square things. This kind of doesn't wobble much. Like, a lot of this wobble is coming from me actually just depressing it and pushing down. If I rest my finger on it, I guess that's some wobble. If we look at it with the keycap, I guess there's some wobble there. Wobble would offend some people's sensibilities, but not quite for me. Not as of yet. No, I can recommend. I do think they're, like, low profile keyboards are terrific for travel. Some people like to use them just in general. And I did primarily use a low profile one for my own use for a while, but this board in front of me is intended for the travel. It will be my go to work and do adult things in an office type of board. 12U, 40% for travel. I mean, a 40% keyboard, bog standard, is a pretty good travel board. This is sub 35%. This has 34 keys and is very thin. I guess maybe it looks there, but let's see. Bringing back cows again. So this is the keyboard I made on the previous stream. For anyone that was there, you might remember it. But this is the thickness of the pair of them side by side. This will fit much more nicely into a backpack or something. And here we are. I suppose overlaying might give a better picture. It is wider by virtue of having a gap in the middle to be a bit more split. It is effectively a split unibody case. But yeah, nice dounchy little travel board. Let's see, I'm going to try put this mat away for a moment. You print right. Me print or someone else print. I print 3D objects, and I do have paper if that is the type of print you're referring to. What are you getting at, Daisy? No, not paper. Okay. I probably should have guessed, but I wasn't quite sure. I have thought about some sort of a top case for this board. Oh, this is interesting. My thumbs naturally want to be here, but the most used keys are up there. I'm gonna have to swap that at some point. And this is the beauty of a 36 key. I could have just had something down there. Anyway, maybe if it makes sense to myself. 3D print cases. Yes, I have 3D printed my own cases. This Kaz case, I 3D printed at home. If I wanted to embarrass myself, I guess, to some extent. That little chip is from an imperfect first layer. Shameful. Up top, we can see some artifacts. Like you can see the different layers. How 3D printing works is it prints one layer and it just goes up, so you can see gradient layers there. Similarly, kind of shame myself. I 3D printed this switch lubrication set kit thingamajig, and the bottom of these is just not pretty at all. My bridge settings are not good. And it doesn't matter, that's a functional print. It doesn't need to be pretty, but I like the things to be pretty, as evidenced, I suppose, to some extent, by me cleaning up the bits of the keyboard that no one can see. Let's see if I can type on this thing. Okay, having fewer keys is causing me some havoc already. And also the thumbs. Okay, I am going to have to tweak this if I want it to be usable, but that was always going to happen anyway. Okay. Let's see if I can add window. We're going to add a window. What are you here? Your monkey type. Okay. Forgive me as I faff around for a minute, because I cannot remember for the life of me how to trim this window. transform. Sorry, I should look over here. Really want SLA printing. I probably do myself, but I think for some of the stuff that you might be interested in, see, you would benefit from SLA. It seems like it's got some much nicer properties to it, let's say. Yeah, hanging around in certain circles can be expensive. Instantiate this. Okay, I cannot for the life of me remember how to trim. So, edit transform. Oh, did I just find the thing? No, I'm resetting. Why am I messing with the wrong one? Okay, I did find where to trim. I'm going to do a brief typing test, basically, to round this out. Look at that go, okay. Actually, I probably don't want to trim sideways too much. Mainly we want to trim the top. Scrolly up. And we want to trim the bottom. Okay, I think that will do sufficiently for janky typing test times. Okay. Instantiate this. I am using OBS and I'm a complete novice. And Katie, yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot of jargon and I kind of forget that maybe not everyone here understands the jargon. So thank you for your patience. If you do have questions, feel free to ask me instead of asking Google, because I'm happy to try explain, be somewhat educational, if you will. Okay, folks, we are going to give this a go. If you want to take a little bit of a bet on how fast my typing will be, I'd say the over-under would probably be on about 70 words a minute. On a good day. First test could be a bit rougher, but we'll see if this goes a bit better or worse. But yeah, we're gonna try beat 70. Jay, 100 is far too high. I've yet to break 90. 69. That's a nice guess. Okay, we're going to give this a go. Let's see. Get some of the clicky clacky sounds. Okay. Let's see how well I can type on this thing. Why can't I find the keys? Oh no. Okay. I've been sabotaged by the settings of this keyboard. Okay. Basically what happened there is I held a pinky key for a fraction too long while hitting, I think, Y. And it brought up the history. This is the danger of having such a keyboard. Actually, okay, we're gonna try persevere here. We're gonna try do this one more time. No blunders, no whammies. Okay, 71. We narrowly broke 70. Not too bad, not too bad. A much cleaner run than the first time. Look at those errors though. Okay, I have some getting used to do on this. It did. It nearly hit 69. It nearly got some people with their meme guesses actually having an accurate result. Okay, we're gonna do one more. $74, okay. And fewer errors. That's not so bad, not so bad. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, it was on 72 for a good long while there, Z. Let's see, okay. So that's a slightly new typing experience to me, but this is Kaz, which we built last time. I've typed a bit more for a bit of a comparison. Let's see how I type on a slightly more regularly shaped keyboard. Let's give this a go. Okay, 64. The thing about it, Kaz, is that I've actually gotten really used to... So this is my first time typing on this keyboard. But this is what my normal keyboard looks like. If I tilt it 20 degrees and rotate it a bit, you'll see it's pretty similar. Columns, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty used to that column type of layout. And if I hit a wrong key, I'm normally pretty good at finding my way back to the right key. And on Kaz, I think you may have noticed that I find those errors just a bit more tough. 20 messages were deleted. Apologies, Insanshade this, my Nightbot settings are completely untweaked. I need to work on that maybe. I got Nightbot because someone tried command last time and I didn't have him, so I felt bad. Yeah, I might try get a Butterstick at some point as well. See, I think it would be a bit of a laugh to type on. And Antivirus, I type on small things, I guess, out of habit. Okay, a Butterstick. For the vast majority of you who have never heard of a Butterstick, a Butterstick is, let's see, I believe it's sold by Gboards. It's a 2-row keyboard. Oh, something's wrong here. Okay. Why can't I hit the keys? Okay. It is a 2-row keyboard. Do we have a finished photo? That's like 10 keys across or whatever, and it looks a bit like a Butterstick. It's a very strange keyboard. Oh, I can scroll now. I was accidentally pressing a key somewhere else. Yeah, so the butter stick is essentially purely immune. Okay, we're going to try one more time with the cabs. I want to try beat 70 on this. Cab sock is on. What a disaster. Okay, we restart. Cap sock is off. Okay, 81 words per minute. Not so bad. We'll call that a day on the old typing test, I think. Alrighty. Yes, Antifer, so you're in good company if you are looking to get into collecting weird and terrible keyboards. The members of the chat are very used to that. So there we go. Typing on CAS, which I'm a bit more practiced in, I can hit 80. But I do find the mistakes a bit more devastating. I don't recover from them quite as well. But this is Zaphod. It's a cutie. I'm a fan. Battery will be coming, so I'll be able to use it wirelessly. This cutout is for that battery. See, there's also pins there for actually an e-paper display to go over it, which I didn't buy, but the store I bought it from bought some extras, so I might try to get one of those. And if I do, I'll do a little build stream of, there's a few pins, that'd be a small process. You can show some handy things like what layer you're in, and a little bongo cat, which you gotta love. But that's a wrap, folks. Thanks to you all for hanging out. Really appreciate everyone that stopped by, and I hope you all have a good evening. Theremin Goat, why, thank you for the follow. Big fan of the Switch reviews. But yeah, thanks folks. I'll probably be back with more small/weird/ergonomic keyboards in the future. Catch you all later. Bye.